Thank you, Lakers coaches, for driving this team into the ground. Thank you, Lakers front office, for not getting any good players. Thank you, Lakers bench, for being the guys behind the not good players and not getting to start. As a Boston fan, 3 seed in the East, comfortably in the playoffs, I appreciate this.
Love how mine was well thought out, complete wrap up of everything I went wrong, and Luke just calm sounding, not calm.
Oscars moment.
Thank you, late GM, for getting a championship and then running it into the ground so you can go play with your kid.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the All-Star Trio podcast. As always, I am your host, Nick, joined, as always, by my co-host, Luke.
How's it going?
And our moderator, Tori.
Hello.
Tori, kick us off.
All right. First segment. MLB. Let's talk about Xander not getting Sorry, if I cannot roll my words together. Let's talk about Xander not getting an extension.
He's gone. He's leaving. That's why they got Story.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, basically, he asked for more than the Red Sox were willing to part with, because Xander wants to be up with the guys like Corey Seager, Carlos Correa, being paid.
Sadly, he can't play defense, so he doesn't deserve it.
Well, he's an unrestricted free agent after this season, I believe. So he's going to test the waters. Yeah, like you said, we just got Story, so it's not like we're, just in a void at shortstop. But it's sad to see him go, but any team would be lucky to have him. I mean, he's a world champion.
Where do you think
and Silver Slugger, All-Star, world champion.
Where do you think he goes?
I don't know. It's hard to tell that right now.
I was thinking he might go to the Astros, but watching how Jeremy Pena has been playing for the Astros right now, I don't know if the Astros will want him.
Through one game.
Two games. Two big games.
Y'all played 2 already?
Yeah, he played opening day and then yesterday. 2 games against the Angels, 2 pretty easy wins because the Angels suck. But
okay then. I didn't get to watch any of the Friday games, so. But yes, Bogarts. It's about that time, I guess. I mean, like I said, he just wants a lot of money. He wants a lot of money. I think Devers wanted a lot of money, but he signed till 2023. If he goes, we've got a replacement. We've got a good replacement. Any team would be lucky to have him.
Very true. I think the move to get Trevor Story kind of shows that they weren't going to pay Xander. So I think this was absolutely a perfect pickup with Trevor Story and the Red Sox for this.
I have to agree.
Astro.
There are a lot of teams in the league. I don't know why you'd want to ruin your name with the Astros.
Let's talk about Judge also not getting an extension.
If Aaron Judge goes to a different team, I feel like he's going to get slightly exposed. Because we got to remember, when he hits his home runs, I think it was the last time he hit, I want to say it was 2020, 2019, the last time he was fully healthy. 70% of his home runs came opposite field off the Yankees' short porch over there.
Yeah.
If you hit it I feel like the first 10 feet of that wall is not a home run in any other ballpark. But we also have to remember he plays defense. His defense might be slightly overrated because it's a smaller area to cover. So I'm wondering if he goes to a different team, how well is he going to play? Is his defense going to step down? He's going to be able to hit as many home runs? I say yes. I think he's still going to be an outstanding player. I still think Judge is a ridiculously good player, despite the fact that he can never stay healthy.
I agree. There's a lot to be said for Yankees Stadium's dimensions. But if Judge goes, I feel like his role isn't going to change much more on a new team. So I feel like no matter what, he's going to be in a situation he likes. He's just not going to be with the Yankees, which is probably, that's the right choice. I don't know why you'd want to ruin your name with the Yankees.
He wants to be a Yankee. Being a Yankee's overrated.
According to Luke, you ruin your name with anything but the Red Sox. So
just about.
if Judge leaves, that's a huge blow to the Yankees because he's like been one of their big guys for a while. If he leaves, I don't think he stays in the American League. I think he goes to the National League. And what I'm scared is he's going to do something like go to the Dodgers because that's kind of what seems to happen to every superstar who leaves the team.
I don't know if
For
he'd
some
go to the
reason, they go
Dodgers
to the
now.
Dodgers. Who knows? They could use a left fielder.
I don't know.
Cody Bellinger running center, Mookie and right, and Aaron Judge in left. It's pretty scary. But legitimately, if he leaves, I think he's going to go to a team like the Brewers, which would be pretty interesting because they have the money to pay for someone like him. I could see him going to the Brewers. I could see him going maybe to a team like Miami. He goes and plays there. They've been putting a lot together with a bunch of young players. Judge could be their star centerpiece now.
Yeah, I mean, he turned down a contract worth over $200 million.
And it was like a 7-year, $200 million contract.
Yeah, so he's leaving. He's out.
Thoughts on your favorite teams so far? Nick, let's start with you.
The Astros are so freaking good. They're so freaking good. So the Astros are just so deep. Our pitching is outstanding. We have so much depth in the bullpen and our starters. Nobody will mention it because Shohei Ohtani struck out 9 players, so Framber Valdez didn't get any credit for retiring 15 straight. Yeah, that was Thursday, the day that Shohei Ohtani pitched, and he allowed the 1 run and took the loss for the game. Framber Valdez didn't allow a run until the 6th or 7th inning. I think he ended up going 6.2 innings and allowed 1 run. It was amazing. The team is really good. The team has been amazing. Like, I was afraid about our shortstop position, but Pena has been outstanding. I think he went like 3 for 5 yesterday with a home run and 2 doubles. He's been amazing to watch defensively. He's absolutely played great, which is exactly what we needed with Correa being gone. Yesterday we thumped the Angels 13-6. It was 13-1 until like the 7th, and we put in a bunch of backups. So that's how they ended up scoring 5. It was a the Astros have looked so good against this Angels team. We've shut down Shohei Ohtani. We've shut down Mike Trout. I think Mike Trout doesn't have a hit. I think he has a walk. He's like 0 for 6 in the first 2 games with a walk. The pitching has been amazing. The team has been outstanding. Bregman's been on one, which makes me so happy because that is my favorite player in the league. Still have his jersey. I got to get it. I'm going to start wearing that more. But Bregman's been looking good. Altuve's was struggling against Shohei, but next game he ended up hitting a leadoff home run, so I think he's going to figure something out soon. But Jordan looks great. Martin Maldonado still can't hit for shit, but I like the Astros this year. I really do. They look outstanding. They're going to win the division. They're going to win it all. Best team in baseball, hands down.
All right, I guess it's my turn. So I didn't get to watch the Red Sox and the Yankees game on opening day. I was working, but I have it recorded. But from what it seems, going into extras on opening day, losing on a walk-off, you tied each other in hits. The only thing was Boston had 2 errors, whereas the Yankees had none. These teams feel pretty evenly matched, and that made for a good baseball game. Xander Bogaerts was 3 for 5 on the day. Doogie was 2 for 5. You had guys like Vasquez, Dahlbeck, Martinez, Devers all getting hit. So there's still production. I think the main worry, if you can call it that, through opening day was just that Story is a little rusty. He didn't have a hit. He was 0 for 5, it looks like. So just a little bit of rust on the second base side. Obviously, Bogaerts had a leg injury there in the 10th inning that I didn't know about till this morning, so that's fun. But honestly, I am not worried about the Red Sox. I feel like this game might have swung a different way if something had, like an error had been erased or Bogaerts had stayed in, something like that. So I'm not worried about the Red Sox. I think Story will work out with time. I think Bogaerts, Devers, Martinez, those guys will continue to produce. So that's my thoughts. Oh, and I didn't even talk about pitching.
Yeah, I was about to ask you. Your pitchers, you guys used a lot of pitching.
We did.
A lot of like short spin. Like there's 3 guys that went less than an inning of work.
4 guys, it looks like.
One,
Looks like we even threw
yeah,
Cutter
Crawford.
Crawford in there.
Yep. 4 guys that went less than an inning of work. Crawford was the
But
one that allowed the walk off. Yep.
I gotcha. So in 5 innings, Nasty Nate struck out 7, only gave up 5 hits. That's pretty good.
Allowed
Whitlock
3
struck out
runs.
4.
2 homers, 3 runs.
2 homers, dude. Well, so that's pretty close to what Otani did. Actually, now that you mention it, he had 9 strikeouts, right?
Yeah, but
Evaldi had 7.
he had 9 Ks, but only allowed like 1 run and 4 hits and 3 or 4
Yeah,
hits.
the strikeout numbers are close. Just the hits he gave up are a little bit bigger,
Oh yeah.
which sucks. But that's baseball.
It's also the ballpark because I mean,
Yeah,
like 2 or 3 of those home runs that game were all opposite field.
yeah, they were at New York.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not worried. I think the Red Sox will be good. It looks like Evaldi did better than Garrett Cole. So
Yeah. Well, Garrett Cole still hasn't been good since he left the Astros. Wink, wink, cough, cough. I also have a second favorite team because I am a amazing baseball fan. The Rangers suck. Like it's bad. We blew a 7-run lead.
wow,
We were up 7-0 and ended up losing 10-7.
Did we really?
It was tough. I stopped. We ended up losing 10-8. I stopped watching and went and watched the Astros demolish the Angels because that was actually more entertaining. Our pitching is terrible. It's so bad, which sucks because we led the game off with a leadoff home run. Like that's how the game started. It was a beautiful start. Corey Seager looked good. He had 2 hits and 4 at bats with 3 runs scored. Simeon was kind of iffy. He was 0 for 4 he scored 1 run on a walk. We have a lot of guys in the lineup that kind of just looked iffy. We are very top heavy. Nate Lowe went 2 for 5, 1 for 3 for Garcia. Garver went 2 for 4. Garver made me really happy to watch. He did amazing. We have a very top heavy because then Calhoun, Ibanez, and Calhoun are 3 bottom of the lineup guys didn't have a hit. Sucks. It is what it is. We only struck out twice. Our offense is so good. The issue is we gave up 9 hits, 5 walks, allowed 10 RBI, 10 runs scored. We just couldn't. Our pitching was terrible. It was really bad. John Gray came out strong the first few innings and then ended up the 4th inning getting kicked, allowed 3 runs. I think through like the 3rd, he had faced the minimum. Like he started the game off so well. And our bullpen was just every single person we put out on the field pitching wise allowed a run.
Yeesh.
3 runs, 2 runs, 3 runs, 1 run, 1 run. It was bad. We couldn't get our pitching figured out, which is exactly what I thought the Rangers would be doing. It was going to be great offense, decent defense, bad pitching. And that's exactly what it ended up being.
I can't name any of the Rangers pitchers.
I was watching this with my dad, and I said, hey, look, John Gray's pitching. He went, who? The only reason I know who John Gray is because he blew a game for the Colorado Rockies in a playoff game against the Dodgers like 2 or 3 years ago.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know literally any of these names.
Our pitching is so bad.
As non-biased as possible.
No.
Just no. Which division is the best in baseball?
I know what Luke's about to say, so let's just get that out of the way.
I mean, honestly, I can't talk about any other division. I haven't really gotten to watch baseball this week. But from what it seems through just the Red Sox-Yankees game, all those predictions about the AL East being like close to a 4-way tie at the top seem pretty accurate through the one game. But yeah, AL East, that is a strong division. Toronto, Tampa, Boston, New York, not the Orioles.
I'm going to rival that. I'm going to say the NL East is the most powerful. New York, Philly, Atlanta, Miami, and Washington. New York Mets, 2 Cy Young caliber pitchers when they're healthy. Max Scherzer pitched last game. He looked good. He gave up a big home run, but they still got the dub. Phillies, literally nothing but sluggers. It's literally the better Yankees because they actually have decent pitching. The Braves, 1-1 on the season right now. Matt Olson has not been looking great to me. Apparently, there was beef between Acuna and Freeman at the end of this last season.
I heard about all that too.
Miami, like I said, they're building up a really good young roster. I'm kind of interested to see what they can do. And then Nationals have Soto.
Aren't the Nationals? Didn't they lose their first game?
Yeah, they're 0-2 right now. They lost to the Mets, who are 2-0 right now.
Gotcha. I'm pretty sure I bet on the Mets winning those, so we're good.
Don't worry, they'll only be good the first half of the season.
That's what we're betting on.
I just need to grow in fantasy.
Second segment. NCAA basketball. All right. Kansas wins men's. Let's talk about that.
I was right.
I was right until the end of the game. Freaking UNC played so sloppy that second half. They ended up getting outscored 49 to, they blew a 15-point lead going into half. They ended up going 29 and 40 to 47 score-wise. They allowed 47 points and only scored 29. It was a rough second half for them. They could not get it together at all the entire second half. It was really bad to watch.
I was right.
I mean, Brady.
Don't leave OU. Don't leave OU. You won't have success.
I mean, Oklahoma lost in the NIT. This team lost in the national championship finals, and he scored 13 points, 13 rebounds. With
Technicalities.
Shot 3 for 6 from 3 and 4 from 8 from the field. God, Brady Manick, I miss him. I do. I was a huge Brady Manick fan. When it comes down to, game was rigged. One of the boards popped up while the guy ran on top of it and completely destroyed his leg.
No shot.
It did. I don't know if
the court broke.
The courts have like springs and padding underneath the floor, so that when people fall, they're not just landing on hardwood floor.
Yeah.
He was going for a layup, and you can literally see that when his foot went down, you literally see the board bounce up off the ground, and his ankle was flat. When the board popped up, his foot went. It It completely destroyed his ankle. Which sucks because he was doing so good. I can't remember. I think it was Black here. I could be very wrong. It could be because I think he was I don't know. I forget who it was. I'm not a Tar Heels fan. I don't care. But he played really. The guy who got hurt was playing really well. I think it was Baycott who had 15 points and 15 rebounds to end the game. Like, he was doing amazing for them rebounding. It's tough. It's what happens. Kansas played well. North Carolina kind of blew it there at the end. To quote Baker Mayfield, stick to basketball, Kansas. Really good at. So.
That's what I'm thinking the entire game. It's literally all I can think about when I hear Kansas now.
They played good. Nothing else to be said about. But, I mean, they only won by 3. Close game. Really close. Just Kansas almost blew it because the guy stepped out of bounds trying to run out the clock. It would have been funny if they did, but
South Carolina wins women's.
No, I don't remember what I said for this one. I'm pretty sure I said.
I said, when has South Carolina ever been good at something? And I mocked the team.
Oh.
And ended up blowing them out.
Yeah, and they won by what, 15?
64 to 49. It was really, really one-sided.
South Carolina outscored UConn 22-8 in the first quarter.
Destiny Henderson dropped 26 points, 9 for 20 shooting, 3 for 6 from 3. I can't talk, so I'm stuttering over my words. Aliyah Boston had 11 points, 16 rebounds for South Carolina. Someone there listened to this podcast, heard what I said, and they just had to blow it back. So,
third segment. NBA. What went wrong with the Lakers?
Lakers.
You've been living
Lakers.
The Lakers officially aren't going to make the playoffs, which I don't know how you'd miss because there have been more posts about the Lakers missing the playoffs than there have been about teams making the playoffs. So, what went wrong with the Lakers? Well, people want to blame a day-to-day Davis. They want to blame Russell Westbrook. They want to blame LeBron James, the GM. I think it's partly the GM. I think it's just it was 100% the front office. Because if we consider who they could have had this offseason, they could have had DeMar DeRozan. They could have had Alex Caruso. They could have kept Kyle Kuzma. The bench on this team is terrible. Carmelo, like the highlight of their team, their bench this year has been Malik Monk, Austin Rivers. Like those two guys have been pretty consistent for the team. You look at the team, it's just the spacing is terrible. They have nobody there they have like no elite do a job guys. Like when you look at teams with a good bench, like we look at the Grizzlies, they have guys that can come off the bench and rebound. They have guys that can come off the bench and play defense. They have guys that can come shoot. They have guys that can come make contested finishes. The Lakers don't have any of that. Their star defenders off the bench and Avery Bradley couldn't defend. Their shooters off the bench and Carmelo Anthony couldn't shoot well this season. Their amazing defensive rebounders and Dwight Howard couldn't play 100% this season. It's partly also Anthony Davis being hurt. Russell Westbrook fits a specific style of basketball. You have to surround him with shooters. There's no shooters on that team. Him, LeBron, Anthony Davis all fill up the post. It's just not good. It doesn't fit well. I blame the head coaching. I think the coaching was terrible for the team. I blame the front office for just doing what LeBron wanted instead of just trying to build a good team. Because if we consider that they had Alex Caruso, there's an elite defender and shooter off the bench. DeMar DeRozan played like an MVP this year. There's your heavy score. Anthony Davis filling up the post. We also have to consider Anthony Davis hasn't played well this year. His defense was down. His shooting was down. What went wrong with the Lakers? From the beginning, it went wrong. The team was just a very bad team. It wasn't good. It wasn't a playoff contending team.
Thank you, Lakers coaches, for driving this team into the ground. Thank you, Lakers front office, for not getting any good players. Thank you, Lakers bench, for being the guys behind the not good players and not getting to start. As a Boston fan, 3 seed in the East, comfortably in the playoffs, I appreciate this.
Love how mine was well thought out, complete wrap up of everything I went wrong, and Luke just calm sounding, not calm.
Oscars moment.
Very
Thank you, late GM, for getting a championship and then running it into the ground so you can go play with your kid. I salute you.
I think LeBron's staying. I think him and AD will both stay. I think Westbrook's gone. Where he'll go, who knows? Apparently, there's thoughts of him going to the Hornets. And if he goes to the Hornets, I think he's either going to be traded again or they're going to buy him out and he's just going to be a free agent at that point. I think they're going to do it to get rid of a contract of a guy like Mason Plumlee, who the Lakers could honestly use. So I think they'll get rid of like Mason Plumlee and Gordon Hayward, send them to the Lakers just to get some space so they can pay guys like Bridges, like LaMelo, and try to get a guy like Rudy Gobert in a trade.
You know, Russell Westbrook feels like he's pretty steadily on like the Isaiah Thomas path where he's just going to jump around team to team, 10-day contract type deal.
My thing with Westbrook is he's a great player. Like whenever he has the ball in his hands, he can still get you a triple-double easy. He still rebounds well. He can still pass well. He can score at the rim. The issue is that the Lakers are just all at the rim. That's all the people defend him. He has no spacing. He still doesn't have a jump shot, which sucks, but it is what it is. You see like some of his misses, but you never see his makes in those, which I think the media has completely ruined his image. I think that's a lot of it, is that the media on the Lakers, you go to the Lakers, if you do bad or if you have like a bad moment, it's going to show up.
Yeah.
When he was in OKC, those didn't happen. When he was in Houston, you didn't see those. When he was in Washington, you really didn't see those. The difference is when he was on Washington, he was putting up good stats and the team was doing good. because they had guys like Bradley Beal to space the floor. There was spacing on that team. I would honestly be so happy if he went back to a team like Washington, because then him, Bradley Beal, Kristaps Porzingis will help with spacing. Kyle Kuzma would help with spacing. I think him going to Washington would be outstanding, but I don't know. If he gets traded to the Hornets, I think they just buy him out, because I don't think they'll put him on the same court as LaMelo, because that's not going to work. But
Yeah, probably not.
just terrible. It was just so bad. All right. Sorry, Tori.
Moving on to play-in predictions. Let's start with Pelicans versus Spurs.
Hey, the playoffs are here. It's playoff time.
Best of the worst time.
Best of the worst time. All the bottom teams who would never make the playoffs regularly, but we need monetization off of one game. I think the Spurs beat the Pelicans. DeJounte Murray, still the most underrated player in the league. Love that guy to death. I think he's a great player. I think the Spurs are better defensively. I think that the Pelicans are a really good offensive team, and they have a lot of young stars. So it'd be very interesting to see. You never really hear anything about the Spurs in media, because, the Spurs don't really have any big, splashy guys. But they do have a really well-built roster of young players. They're really good defensively. They have some scorers. They have playmakers. They have a good rim protector in Jacob Poeltl. However you say his last name. It's spelled weird. But I think the Spurs beat the Pelicans. I think it'll be very close, but I don't expect the Spurs to do anything good besides roast Anthony Davis for when he missed the playoffs and they post something about them being in the play-ins. So, but that's about all I got for that game.
Yeah, I don't really think the Pelicans are going to have much success in the postseason if they even make it.
Well, they'll make
Out
it
of all
in
the
playoffs. They're technically in the play-ins.
technically, but out of all the teams in the play-in, I think this game features the weakest by far. So no matter who comes out of it, this is the only game they win. I honestly think it'll be the Spurs as well, but just because I don't believe in the Pelicans more than I don't believe in San Antonio.
Fair enough.
Timberwolves versus Clippers.
There's a big if around this game, because Paul George is back for the Clippers. He's played decent. Kawhi Leonard might be back. That's the big what if. If Kawhi comes back, I think that the Clippers win. If they have Kawhi, if they have Paul George, this team has been very surprising this year. They have great depth. They're a very well put together team. But if Kawhi doesn't come back, I think the Timberwolves win this, because Karl Anthony Towns has been playing well. Anthony Edwards has been on a tear last few games. They still have D'Lo. They have Pat Bev to lock down the defense. The Timberwolves are a surprising team for me, because I keep forgetting they exist. But they're a really good young team, and I honestly hope the best for them, because I think Cat deserves it. I think Anthony Edwards, I'm still big on him being better than LaMelo Ball, which is always an argument, but I think
So the last thing,
Timberwolves.
I was going to go with the Clippers, but the last thing I heard about Leonard's injury is that he hasn't progressed beyond individual work. So, yeah, it's a big if he's back in time for this. I wish I could say for sure, but I can't. But I'm willing to still bet on, Paul George. Rich Jackson. I think he's still there.
Yeah,
but,
Reggie Jackson's been like their star player all year with Paul George.
Yeah. I haven't been really keeping up with the Clippers, but I'm willing to bet on these guys. So I'm going to go with the Clippers for this one.
Hawks versus Hornets.
Let's go, Trae Young.
This will be a fun play-in game.
I think that this game's going to be interesting, because as soon as this game's over, we're going to hear the media is going to blow up on, oh, LaMelo's better than Trae Young. Oh, Trae Young's better than LaMelo. This is what this is going to be. This is the who's better for the internet's sake, LaMelo or Trae Young. Because honestly, I think we all know Trae Young is the better point guard, but I think the Hawks win this game purely because they just have a better big man. I don't know if Clint Capella's healthy. I haven't heard much about him. Same thing for John Collins, but if they're both playing, I think they match up pretty well against Miles Bridges and Mason Plumlee. LaMelo's awesome. He is. He has some amazing dime passes. He's great. I will admit that. Isaiah Thomas is there. I wanted the best for him too. I think the Hawks are better. I think the Hawks are built better for the playoffs. We saw last year that they can put together a really good run. And then I think Trae Young's just that much better. I honestly just think Trae's scoring, if he goes off in this playoffs and they play well, I think it's all going to be around how he plays. So I'll take the Hawks for this one, but I think it'll be way closer than a lot of people think.
Yeah, like I said, I think this will be a really fun game to watch. I think out of all the playing games, this will be the best one. I want to go with the Hawks for most of the same reasons you're going with the Hawks. We'll see. I mean, again, Ball, Bridges, Rozier. The Hornets have guys. They've got a good team for this. Who knows if they, make it to play the Heat or they make it to play whoever. But at least for this game, it's iffy. It's close. For the sake of competition, I'll go with the Hornets since you'll go with the Hawks. And we'll make a little competition out of it.
Yeah. Are we doing this like we did the NFL playoffs where we're going to make a bet, which we still have to make a punishment for me, I believe. We still have to come up with that.
I hadn't thought about it, but we could if we really wanted to.
We want to go, Tori, you down to make a playoff bracket? We make this a little competition?
All right, I'm down.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Everyone just needs to whip something up because they play insert Tuesday, I believe. So we have the rest of the weekend and Monday. So just whip something up, put something together. We'll see.
All right.
I'm
down.
Putting that on our socials later then. Look forward to that.
I already know. I already
know
know that I'm going to lose.
Subtle plug, follow us on all our socials. Cough, cough to see our amazing posts.
TikTok and Instagram, Snapchat. Okay. Nets versus Cavaliers.
The Nets.
Nets.
Okay. The Cavs have had an amazing season. It's kind of gotten derailed late because of injuries. It sucks. It is what it is. As far as I know, I don't think they have any. They just played a game against each other, too. I think they played yesterday. And Garland dropped 30 points, 11 assists, and Durant dropped 32 and 5 rebounds and 6 assists. I think Brooklyn.
Yeah, pretty close.
I think this is the start of Brooklyn's little run. I don't think Brooklyn gets past the second round. That's my big prediction for that team, is they make it all the way to the second round. So for that reason, I think that Brooklyn's going to beat the Cavs. I said it in our video about who do we think is going to fall off after the All-Star break. Cavs have fallen off a bit. Injuries have really derailed them. It sucks, but that's just how it is. I think the Cavs run ends here.
Yeah, I really liked the Cavs earlier in the season, but against the Nets, who have been hailed as the strongest 8 seed in NBA history, yeah, this is where it ends.
And finally, to close us out today, what player should be getting more MVP praise?
Okay, before you make your pick, I have a quote for you from Josh Giddey of the Thunder Variety. When asked about the definition of the most valuable player, Giddey replied, "The most valuable player is the player that makes the most players valuable." So with that in mind, that definition, first off, I want to ask, do you think that's a good definition? Second off, I want to ask, who's your sleeper MVP?
So I do like what he said. I think that's the true definition for MVP right there, yes. That is not the definition for NBA MVP, because that is the most biased and flawed award. I think that the NBA has 2 of the most flawed awards in any sport, being the MVP and the Defensive Player of the Year. I think both of those awards are incredibly flawed because people only look at – they're literally only stat awards. That's what they are. If you have the most points, throwing a few rebounds and assists, you're going to win that award. Every year there's always so-and-so should have won this award. So-and-so should have won this award. By the NBA standards of MVP, I think Devin Booker should be getting way more praise than what he's getting. His team is currently the 1 seed. Chris Paul was hurt a lot this season, making Devin Booker, I think since the All-Star break, Chris Paul's been hurt. Devin Booker is averaging 26 points, 5 rebounds, 4.8 assists, steal a game. He's been incredibly efficient from I can't remember where he has a 2.0 points to turnover. I can't remember where I saw the stat of his efficiency stat, but it was plus 50 defensive or plus 50 efficiency. I can't remember off the top of my head what it was. But this season he's shooting 46% from the field, 38% from three. His team's number one seed. He was the best player on the number one seed, playoff contending team. He's like the most clutch player in the NBA this season. He has the most shots in the clutch moments this year. I think he should be getting way more praise for MVP than what he is. I think it's purely just because he doesn't have like any outstanding stats. Like, don't get me wrong. 26.8 points, 9th in the league. That's good. But then you look at his rebounds, 80th in the league in rebounds, 35th in assist, 23rd in PER. I get it. I get that he's not like stat-wise outstanding. But if we look at it from the NBA perspective of the best player on the best team in the league, making them a better team when he's on the court, it's Devin Booker. Because he has by far carried this team to a now franchise record in wins. If we go back to the Suns team, the Steve Nash, the Charles Barkley, like those big name players that were on the Suns, he has now led this team above that team, with his best number two being DeAndre Ayton, who hasn't been good and who doesn't even seem like he wants to play for the Suns. So he's my sleeper. I think he deserves way more praise than he's getting, but he won't get the award because the MVP in the NBA is incredibly flawed.
I actually really like Devin Booker for this pick. I agree with just about everything you said. Right now, I think Jokic is at the top of the race.
Yeah.
Which
he'll win
credit,
Jokic will win it.
Yeah, credit to him. He's having a great year. But for sleeper picks, just for the sake of discussion, I'm going to toss in Jason Tatum. Boston has had a stellar second half, ran to the 3 seed in the East. Tatum shooting 45 from the field, 35 from 3-point. He's averaging 27 points. He, Smart, Brown, literally you can name so many players on the Celtics that are having a great year. But Tatum is kind of like the centerpiece in a lot of people's eyes. He is the guy they built on. Yeah, I think his name is worth mentioning. I think in the ladder right now, he's about 6th.
Yeah, he's like right there above Devin Booker, who I think is 7th.
So it doesn't look like he's going to win it, but for the sake of discussion, these guys, Booker, Tatum, they should be getting more talk. I mean, like I said, Boston is 3 in the East, and they're about to beat the Heat or whoever they play, the Bulls. Yeah, so that's my sleeper, I guess.
I'm gonna throw in one more name into this little hat. Luka Doncic. I can never say his last name right, which makes me so hurt as a Mavericks fan. Luka, 3rd in points, 18th in rebounds, 5th in assists, and 5th in PER right now in the league. He's averaging 28.5 points, 9.1 rebounds, 8.7 assists. He's first on the Mavs in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. Why can't Luka be MVP? I mean, he's shooting 45% from the field, 45 from the field, 35 from 3. I think he's shooting like 42% from mid-range and at the rim. He's been outstanding this year. And if you want to go with your NBA, look at the stats. Well, 3rd in points, 5th in assists, 5th in PER right now. Pretty darn good stats. And then you realize that the Mavericks are a playoff team now. Like they are, they're 51-30. They're the 5 seed, I want to say. They're the 4 seed right now.
4 seed, yeah.
And can you name another player on the Mavs? Like as a casual NBA fan, can you name another player on the Browns? Or on the...
Do they have Porzingis still?
Traded him to Washington.
then no.
Exactly. Jalen Brunson, Maxi Kleber, Dorian Finney-Smith. By Josh Giddey's definition, he's made this team better. Like, he's made these players look better. I think Luka should win MVP. It's going to be Jokic. It will be. I think Giannis and Embiid are right there with him, though. But players like Luka, like Tatum, like Devin Booker, I think should be getting way more praise than what they are. But everyone likes the big man now. If you can make some flashy passes, make some flashy dunks, you're going to win. You're going to win MVP.
Right. I think that's all we got.
Yeah, is that everything?
It is everything.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to another episode of the All-Star Trio podcast. You can find us every week on Spotify and iHeartRadio. There will be a YouTube video if for some reason you want to see our interesting faces. Let's put it like that. Sorry, Luke.
Thing is the polite word, Nick. Why are you directing that at Luke?
I was wondering if someone said something. You can follow us on all our socials. Follow us on TikTok, Spotify.
Don't mess with the guy who edits the videos.
Fair enough. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter.
Luke,
YouTube.
make a TikTok.
I did forget to make the TikTok about Seattle being overrated. I got to make that later. But Luke, you do need to make a TikTok. Come on, man.
Luke,
Working on it.
Luke, make a TikTok.
I'm going to be working all day.
Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
So yeah.
Podcast